Welcome to Next Play. My name is Carl McMath, and here today I'll be leading you in an online webinar. Here at Next Play, we believe every play is crucial, meaning that we value the small things. With the understanding that everybody's catching plays, let's get to the next one. Today's webinar, what we'll talk about is focusing on the memory of water. What we have to understand is that, even though water may be clear, it still can have memory, still have muscle memory, right? And so a lot of scientists have went out and figured out that although every water droplet that comes out is created a little bit different, they all make an impact. So today what we want to take a look at is understanding what type of impact that water droplet could make. But actually understanding that it's not just the impact it makes, it's who this water droplet is before it makes that impact. Right now, today, what we're talking about, we're focusing on you as a student, as a person, and one of our future leaders. Understanding that at the end of the day, who you are is what makes you unique and how the way you can have an extreme impact. But leaders don't force people to follow. They invite them to go on a journey with them so they can be successful. And today, I don't believe in wasting anyone's time. And so we're going to have a great 20 minutes of a great workshop or a webinar that is meant for and based on you as a student, but then more importantly, you as a person. On a day in and day out basis, you are inundated with a lot of information. A lot of things is presented to you, no matter if it's online and social media, at home, or out in the community. What we all want you to do here at Next Play is understanding that those situations is a situation by situation by situation, meaning every opportunity that you get, and each and every opportunity you're presented with, you have an opportunity to be your best self. Today, what we want to talk about is look at some of these key things for you to measure when it comes to who you are, who you keep around you, your goals and aspirations that you may have in the future. How do you see yourself as a leader? And then most importantly, not only just your growth mindset, but more importantly, how can you reach out and interact with our mentors? Let's get to it. One of the first things we have to understand is who are we, right? Who are you? As an individual, you have to understand who you are before anyone can ever reach out and help you. So when we talk about who are we're talking about what do we value? What are things that is a no-go for us? Meaning the things that we need on a day in and day out basis for us to be successful internally. What do we value? Do we value our family and friends? Do we value being alone? Do we value sports? Do we value academics? What do we value? Do we value religion? Do we value money? There's many things that go to the core of who you are as an individual and as a person. One of the things we want to focus on is making sure you have an opportunity to sit down and write out and find your values. I challenge you to do that. Find your top 5 values about yourself, about your life. What do you value? Only by understanding what you value and who you are, you're able to move along and ask the question, what do you need or what do I need, right? It's funny looking at this picture of William Shakespeare, who was a great artist and a great poet. One of the biggest things about William Shakespeare, and he states, one of his best quotes, is that all the world's a stage. All the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many roles. What Shakespeare is talking about is that in your lifetime, you will always grow. You will grow physically, but then most importantly, you'll grow mentally. In every aspect or every play in which we talk about here at Next Play, every play that you are presented with, you have an opportunity to be great, but you have an opportunity to play your role. But you can't play your role if you first don't understand who you are as a person and what do you value. One of the great things that we begin to understand as we walk throughout life and we're beginning to attack different things when it comes to growth is that at the end of the day, you can't lose who you are. It's almost like playing a video game, right? You don't have to look down at your controller to understand, where your hands or where your thumbs are supposed to go. It's the same way about your values. Once you understand what you value, it's like riding a bike. You don't have to look down. You just know. You know things that go along with your value system and things that do not. And so first things first, we have to understand if we're going to make an impact, if we want to grow and leave a legacy, we have to first understand who we are. And I know you're at a young age right now, and you are more in the situation or the mind frame of about right now. But I challenge you to understand how or what the bases are for you to be successful. What are your values? Your values keep you grounded. And then once you understand your values, you're able to move on and say, what do I need? How can my staff members, how can my parents, my guardians, the community, how can they help me achieve my goals? But then more importantly, to make sure I remain true to myself. One of the biggest things you can ever do is first, not only just asking who you are, but then understanding what you need. My mom used to always tell me, I don't take care of your wants. I take care of your needs. Meaning that there are essential things you need to be successful. There are essential things that a child needs from a parent, and a parent should provide for their child. But where we're at right now is understanding who you are. So first, before we can go out and become, this great individual, we first have to be realistic about the person that we're looking at in the mirror. So let's start with ourselves first, and let's build from there. First, who we are. Second, how can those that are around me that care for me, how can they help me out? Next, we begin to look at and try to evaluate not only just our own values, right? We start with ourselves first, but then we have to start looking and measuring what are the values of the friends or those people I interact with on a regular basis. Once you understand these things, you're able to be successful. Also, remember, what you keep or you must understand that the company you keep is also the company you tweet, right? And what that means is every time you put something out there in the atmosphere, it can come back to you. But more importantly, what you tweet is what you condone. What you like is what your aspirations are. And so what we want to deep dive into, or what we really want to understand, is that, when you are interacting with others online or face to face, you should always measure and say, does this person or does the message in which they're trying to portray, does it line up with my values? My mom used to always say, show me your friends, I show you who you are, right? And what that means to me now today is different than when she first originally said it to me when I was younger, when I was a teenager. And the message she was trying to get across to me is this. And it's the same message that I know a lot of your guardians, parents, and also people that support you in the community say to you all the time. You need to be around people that are like-minded, meaning people that want the best for you, but then also want what's best for themselves. People that are seeking growth, people that are seeking to enhance not only just their immediate surroundings, but then also their community. At the end of the day, what we're faced with on a day in and day out basis is making tough decisions. And those tough decisions start at an early age, right? Not only just what I want to wear to school or what I want to wear when I'm going out, but more importantly, who or what company do you want to keep? Your friends can be the ones that motivate you to go higher, or they can be ones that can hold you back. We never want to be around people that are negative, right? But you have to understand, if you're around a person that's always negative and you're positive, eventually one of them has to win out. So I say to you all, be careful and mindful of the things and the people in which you're willing to watch and interact with, not only just in person, but mostly online. Measure yourself. Make sure that their views, their tweets, their statuses match who you are. And if they do not, don't follow them. If they do not, why keep them in your atmosphere? Remember, we only want positive vibes. And so having a positive vibe, you got to make sure that people around you have that same idea and mentality that you have. Remember, this is all a process. Stay focused. It's all about growth. So now we understand that we have to start with ourselves, and then we move on and begin to ask, questions about how we can become successful. and then start measuring those people that we keep close around us, right? Always remember your inner circle should be filled with people in which you trust, and that can always help you advance and rise up. But then now we have to begin to understand that we have to trust ourselves. We have to believe the person that we want to become. And let me tell you what this means. This means simply this. Do what makes you happy. Essentially, you already have this talent. You have time and different gifts that you have come about or have grown. What you have to understand is that you have to believe in those skills. You have to believe in yourself and understanding what goals you have set for the future. So essentially what makes you happy could be, social media, creating TikTok videos, playing a game system, communicating with others and friends, family and friends, and also different types of photography, maybe even sports, whatever that you may like to do. But understand that when you're doing this, be your best self. Understand who you want to become and then be that. Be great. Or be what makes you comfortable. At the end of the day, we have so much information and people pulling us left and pulling us right and telling us where to go. But as a student, as a young individual, you have to understand that there's a path in which you have to walk. There's a path in which you're going to be held accountable. Why not be held accountable for things you love to do? Why not focus on things that you believe can make you grow? And those are the things that we have to understand that we can begin to plan out and keep them all in our pathways and keep them all within our goals and within our aspirations. One of the things that always get to me is that you find people that begin to go into a profession or build relationships with others that is only beneficial in one way. I always tell people that you do things with a clear heart, you normally have clear and clean results. And so after you understand who you are and you understand the company in which you keep, you understand who you want to become, the next thing then we have to understand and we have to build on is what type of leader that you want to be. And I know a lot of people talk about leadership and a lot of people talk about the overwhelming need for great leaders. And sometimes people don't want that responsibility. But every time you make a decision, every time that you make a play, quote unquote, you are actually being a leader. Sometimes the best thing a leader can ever do is say no. So understand this, when we're talking about leadership skills and who you are as a person, right? It's not where you lead from, but it's how you lead. It's how you lead. Your skill set and your talent can call for you to lead in the front if you're loud and boisterous and you like the attention. Sometimes it calls for you to lead from the middle of the pack. Other times it calls for you to lead from the back. Any way it goes, or no matter your position, when you're having a conversation or you're seeking growth, when it's time for you to step up, you step up in a major way. And you step up in the way in which you best feel comfortable. Sometimes leaders don't always have to be the loudest person. They can be the mightiest person with a pen. Or they don't have to be a person that's actually leading a company, but they could be a person that actually develops and leads in some of the engineering facets. You don't have to be a person in the sports realm to score 30 or 40 points. But as long as you are a key contributor, a part of the team, you will still be successful. I tell people all the time, most of the time, great leaders lead in a way in which they feel comfortable. But great leaders first understand they have to lead themselves. So we understand our values. We understand how to ask for help. We understand the values of those that we keep close around us. And then now we move on, and then we moved on to understanding who we want to be in our future self and what makes us happy. But then when those times call for us to be a great leader, we lead. Like the impact of water, like the memory of water, you can spread and go anywhere. Just make sure that when you're making that impact, it's with a clear heart and for the right reasons. But we first have to start with ourselves. And now when we're seeking to make that impact, we have to understand this, is that we must always be in the business of growing. And having a growth mindset is something that never stops. You're never satisfied with just gaining a little bit of information and stopping there. Not being great or being successful as you are right now, but wanting to be more successful. Having aspiration and motivation to go over the top. and be your best self at any and every time. So it's a continuous cycle with self-reflection. Yes, I understand we have to understand our values, and I said that earlier, but we never stop. The more you experience life, the more you learn academically as well as personally, the more opportunities that you have to grow. And having a growth mindset is simply this: you're willing to be honest with yourself in the mirror. And that's the toughest thing to do, is to be honest with yourself. You know yourself better than anyone else. So make sure when you're growing, you make sure that you have the ability from time to time to redirect yourself, to be positive to yourself, celebrate yourself at times, but it also holds yourself accountable internally. That's growth mindset. Always willing to get to the next play. And then last but not least, and most importantly, we understand who we are. We understand who we keep around us. We understand what we want to become, potentially what type of leader that we are. And we're always growing. We're always self-reflecting. But I tell you, the most powerful thing that you can ever do and ever have that benefits you in the long run, and this goes across any gender, it goes across, no matter how much money you make, it goes across the whole spectrum, and that's this: mentorship. Mentorship is simply this: finding a person that can motivate you and can guide you and lead you to directions in which you feel comfortable. The most interesting thing about this image in which you're seeing right now is that every time this individual wants to fall back, you have a mentor pushing them forward. Whenever they want to fall back, a mentor is pulling them up. Whenever they want to give up, a mentor is pushing them up. And that's simply what we're talking about. It's one opportunity to have help on one hand, which is somebody that helps you out in situation by situation. And that's great to always receive help. But what we're talking about when we talk about mentoring and being a mentee is we're talking about guidance. And guidance is something that is ongoing and never stops. Guidance is like that great relationship you have with a friend that can always tell you the truth, the hard truth. But more importantly, with this guidance, it's tacked along with not only just educational experience, but more so life experience. I know at times we believe we know everything. We have answers to everything. But sometimes we have to seek out some more information. And it's always great. I have a cousin who is extremely successful. She makes really, really good money. She is extremely smart. And she has a great sense of emotional intelligence. And one thing that she told me, and it really impacted me, was that she has a mentor. And I asked her simply this: why do you have a mentor? It seemed like you got everything together. Everything in your life is well off. You're happy, you're satisfied, bills are taken care of. And she said, well, there's always an opportunity to grow. I know some things, but I don't know it all. And I know just enough for me to be successful, but I need to continue to grow. And she said the most thing that her mentor has ever impacted her, or the way in which her mentor impacts her the most, not only because her mentor gives her different guidance when it comes to the profession, but more so because this person has life experiences that they share with her, so she's able to grow and she understands what mistakes not to make and what things she should take a chance on. That's the power of mentor. So at your young age, one of the best things you ever can do is reach out to those, not only just your parents and your guardians, but some of your teachers, some of your coaches, some of your instructors that can help you out, right? Because in order for you to be great in a certain atmosphere, you first have to understand what type of atmosphere you're walking into. If you want to be a lawyer, reach out to a lawyer currently. If you want to be an engineer, reach out to that engineer. If you want to be a preacher, if you want to be a photographer, make sure you begin to engage people that are doing it as a profession. If you got an interest in a certain university, reach out to a person that attended that university and or a person that is thinking about going. Always find those people that wants what is best for you. I can guarantee you those individuals are actually found inside of your school. that can be found inside of your community, but more importantly, that can be found inside your household. Find those individuals that want what is best for you, no matter what. That is the power of mentorship. But as a mentee, you have to understand this. You have to come with your cup. And what I mean by that is when a person is mentoring you, they are trying to pour as much information, they're trying to give you as much knowledge as possible. And what I always tell my mentees is this: come with your cup, come with questions, come with things that I can assist you on. If you find yourself stumped, you're not able to answer a question, find a way, let's connect together and let's find an answer, or I can guide you in the best way for you to get that question answered. You know, at the end of the day, one of the great things you ever can do is humble yourself to understand that you may not know everything, but you're willing to grow. And those are the things those are the type of characteristics that you need to really have an impact and to be successful at whatever goals you set. Understand this. Good people are always willing to help out good people. But then those people that are bad, people will never bend over backwards and help. Make sure you keep your values strong. Make sure you understand what you really want. Understand those that you want to keep around you. Understand that you have a sense of reality about who your future self will be. And then you begin to understand what type of leader you are. And then ultimately you begin to have a growth mindset that leads you to ask for a mentor. And you seeking knowledge and seeking information. The best things that I've ever been exposed to is a community of people that are all striving for the same thing. And that is that everybody is successful. And I'm telling you, that's a great wave to ride. Now, one of the things that with our time today, we have talked about a lot, but let me bring the conversation full circle. Because water has memory, it's able to spread across all of the world. But you, who you are today, you have the same opportunity. You have the opportunity to impact the world at a great, you have the opportunity to impact the world starting today. Remember, you don't have to wait to have an impact, but you do have to have a sense of self. You have to understand that you may not have all the answers, but you have goals of who you want to become. And although you may not see it clearly, you understand that you can lead in many different ways. And finally, and most importantly, you understand that, hey, maybe I don't have all the answers, I need to reach out. You know, here at Next Play, we believe everybody's catching plays, and you got to get to the next play. But more importantly, you can't get to a play if you're not first in the game. So, my name has been Carlos McMath, and I am the founder and owner of Next Play Consultant LLC. And like we always say, every play is crucial. Get to the next play. Thank you. Have a good day.